Have you ever heard of a gun so influential that it ended a war without even firing a single shot? Sounds like something out of a movie script, right? But dig into the annals of history, and you'll find this unnerving yet incredible reality. In this episode of Firearms, we bring you the astoundingly true tale of the gun that shut down a war without firing a shot. The time was the height of the Cold War, a period teeming with political strife, espionage, and paranoia. The world teetered on the brink of catastrophic global warfare, with nations deploying an arsenal of intimidating weaponry more as statements than practical use. And in the eye of this hurricane of mass armament stood a single weapon that stunned the globe into a fragile, precious silence. Enter the Convair B-36 Peacemaker. Yes, the B-36 was technically a bomber, but believe it or not, its defining feature was its ability to carry the heaviest payload of nuclear weapons of any aircraft in human history at the time. But here's where the twist comes in, what the Peacemaker represented: a devastating paradox. In its silos and systems, it promised annihilation so absolute that no sane opponent would dare to risk it. One specific incident stands tall in this era of global tension: the Berlin blockade of 1948-49. The Soviets were testing Allied patience, cutting off Western allies from access to Berlin. Supplies only got to the people of Berlin via an airlift. Diplomatic channels were floundering, tensions were rolling to boiling points, and conflict on a massive scale seemed all but inevitable. And that's when the Peacemaker came into play. It didn't drop bombs. It didn't destroy cities. No. Instead, it was flown, deliberately and visibly, along certain air corridors known to the Soviet Union. That singular act, a mere show of its potential capability, led to a calculated reevaluation of strategy on the other side of the curtain. Historians argue that Soviet intelligence, already weary of the unpredictability of nuclear war, simply couldn't calculate against a threat this overwhelming. The blockade dismantled itself. Not a bullet fired, not a bomb dropped, just the idea of what the Peacemaker was capable of proved enough to pull the curtain closed on one episode of Cold War escalation. Here's another twist. The Peacemaker wasn't exactly the success story you'd expect from something that helped diffuse a potential conflict. Its operation was clunky, maintenance was arduous, and it guzzled fuel like no tomorrow. Pilots were skeptical of its wartime prowess because it turned sluggish in dogfights. Yet in spite of all its visible flaws, it achieved with silence what fleets of battleships and squadrons of tanks could not. You might wonder then, how would history be different without the psychological impact of such a weapon? Could this moment of relative peace, even in chaos, steer us away from outright devastation? Or did it just prolong the inevitable clashes further down the line? That's the ultimate enigma of the Peacemaker. It didn't end wars entirely. It halted one tipping point. But it also ushered us into an era where weapons became symbols, proxies for decisions too dangerous to play out for real. And here's the philosophical wonder behind it all. The Peacemaker was both a weapon of potential mass destruction and an unexpected vehicle for peace. Never before had humanity wrestled with something that was simultaneously its doom and salvation. Think about how that altered the psychology of warfare forever. Don't just rack up firepower, rack up potential deterrence. It carved the unwritten rulebook for nearly an entire century of military strategy. So the next time someone tells you firearms are all about the bang and the bullet, tell them this story. Tell them about the Peacemaker, a weapon that redefined what it means to shoot without pulling the trigger. And hey, maybe it will make you rethink the astonishing ways our technology and psychology intertwine. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more astonishing tales from our Firearms series. Until next time, stay curious.